Imposter syndrome. Do you struggle with imposter syndrome? Why do we struggle with imposter syndrome? And is there a way to get past it? I think that imposter syndrome is a really odd thing, right? I struggle with it myself. Every time I've ever gotten a promotion, I've gone through a season where I felt like, well, I can't believe they gave me this job. Only a matter of time before I run into some things I can't do. They're going to find out I'm not qualified. And inevitably, it never works. It never works out to where they do find out, because it's not true. I mean, that's the point of the syndrome piece, is that it's not reality, right? So imposter syndrome, just definitionally, is just that consistent fear that someone is going to find out that you are an imposter, that you are not who you say you are, you're not as qualified as you think you are. However, usually if you get a job, you're getting that job because you are qualified, right? You're getting that job because someone thinks you can do it. And most of the time you can do it, right? So if you're in a job that you are struggling with, even then, you're not an imposter. You're just someone learning a new job. That's just the way the career field goes. So imposter syndrome is a really weird thing that people go through. And I think one of the worst parts is that we often can't admit we have it, because that's part of the syndrome. We're afraid other people are going to find out we're not really who we think we are. So we certainly can't mention to those people that we feel like an imposter, because that's self-fulfilling prophecy just then. So it is a struggle. And so today I just want to talk about why that is and what we can do to overcome it. What is the reality of that situation versus what we might think in our own heads? The first thing is probably, are you susceptible to it, right? I think that a lot of times it's people who are moving into a new role. I think it's people who are perfectionists, people who view themselves as an expert or want to be viewed as an expert. Those are often the people that struggle with imposter syndrome the most, because they're in a spot where maybe they don't know everything, or they want to know everything, so then the pressure's on you. Or you're a perfectionist, so you're probably never going to live up to your own standards because you're never going to be perfect. Therefore, always feeling like an imposter. So there's reasons why we put this pressure on ourselves. One of them is internal pressure. Similar to a perfectionist, a lot of us put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be somebody. And just wanting to be somebody that you aren't right this second doesn't make you an imposter. It just makes you a work in progress. Another one is cultural pressure. We live in a culture of comparison. Think of social media. Everything in our lives is about comparison to other people. We have way too much access to other people. And I think that bleeds over into work when we start comparing ourselves to our coworkers. So if you get into a new job, odds are you have peers in that job already. People who are already doing that job, probably somewhat successfully. So it's only natural that you're going to compare yourself to those people. And a lot of them, if they've been doing it for a while, may be better than you. But that still doesn't make you an imposter. A lot of times I think it's fear. Fear of failure, but not even just fear of failure, but fear of what success might bring. I think that a lot of times we're actually scared of what it would be like if we were successful. Think about a job that you're not sure you're going to be good at. Success in that job can lead to other jobs, which you'll know even less about how good you're going to be. So I think fear is a huge factor, both from I'm going to fail, but also from can I handle success of this? And then the last reason why we all struggle with this is because we can't work together to get over it, because no one can admit they have it. So even me, right? It's easy to get on this and say, hey, I've struggled with imposter syndrome, but I'm not going to go to work and tell all my coworkers, hey, a lot of times I just don't feel like I'm up for this job. And I hope you guys don't figure it out, right? Because then they'll think I'm an imposter. So having the syndrome, it almost makes it impossible for you to admit you have it, because admitting you have it is to fulfill the syndrome in the first place. The fortunate thing is that there is hope. I think we have to start by just owning it and admitting we have it. That doesn't mean we need to run to our offices tomorrow and tell everybody we're struggling with imposter syndrome, but I think we have to tell ourselves that's what it is, right? The feelings that you're having about feeling inadequate, that everyone's going to catch you being unprepared for the job that you're in, it's in your head. It's a mental thing. You would not be in that job if they didn't think you were qualified to do it. And someone along the way believed that you would be someone who could do that job. And when you accepted that job, there was a part of you that believed you could do that job. So we need to just tap into those things. What is it about us that made us think that we could do that job? The next thing is that we need to start thinking about all the reasons why our fears of being an imposter are silly, right? What are your qualifications? What are the things in your career that you can point to that show like, hey, no, I actually am qualified for this job, and here are the 53 reasons why I am, so that we can quit worrying about this idea that someone's going to find us out. I think to the perfectionist out there, it's about changing how we see success, right? Success should be progress, not perfection, right? So if you're thinking about anything in life, you're never going to be perfect, right? But as long as you're making progress, that is the success. That is the success you see on your journey. And so we need to reframe it that way, that yes, we're not going to be perfect, but as long as we're making progress, we're moving in the right direction, then we're on the right path. And then the last thing, honestly, is just to ask trusted people, right? Maybe this isn't people at work. Maybe this is your friends, your family, people who know you well, former employers, your previous manager. Ask them about you, right? Ask them their honest opinions about you and your abilities, about what your job is right now, and about what they think you're capable of. And a lot of them will probably let you know that, no, you're fine. You're capable of that job. You're not failing just because you feel like you're not capable. Are you doing the job? Then you're probably good. And I think if you take these actions and you really think about it, over time your confidence will build. And as your confidence builds, this imposter syndrome that we struggle with sometimes will go away. At least that's what I found in my life. The more and more confidence I build up in myself, the less and less I doubt whether I'm capable or not capable of doing the job. The important thing to realize is that we are all more than we think we are. We're more than the bad stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. We're more than the last failure that we've had. We're more than the job that we're in or the title that we have. There's much bigger things at work in us than these things we're struggling with when it comes to imposter syndrome. Your value's not tied to your job or your concept of how good you are at that job. It's been decided long ago. You were created for more than just that. It isn't a value statement of what you do and what you think about your abilities to do it. It's much bigger than that. And there should be hope and relief and peace in knowing those things, because when that's true, then it isn't up to what you think. It doesn't really even matter what you think. You're more than just that, right? We all have negative self-talk, and that's all imposter syndrome is. It's just us being mean and demeaning to ourselves. The reality is that doubt is not a sign of weakness. I think a lot of people interpret doubt as weakness. Really, doubt is growth. If you've ever learned anything, believed anything, were on any project, and you never questioned anything, no one does that. Of course you question things. Of course you doubt things. You want to find out the truth. You want to find out what's real, what isn't, what works and what doesn't. And so that doubt you have, that's a good thing. You know, you don't want to go through life just believing everything, just blindly following what people tell you. So don't let the doubts in your life trick you into thinking that makes you weak for some reason. No, that's a sign of growth. You're figuring life out. You're figuring your career out. You're figuring your job out. The final thing is that imposter syndrome is a mental thing. It only means what you allow it to mean. if you let it mean that you suck at your job, then that's what it will mean to you. If you take control and say, you know what, this is just a mental thing, I'm just having a negative view of myself, and that's not reality, then that is what it will mean to you. That it is just this negative thing that isn't reality. And that is the key to getting out of imposter syndrome, is just to come to the realization that it is just a mental thing that is not the actual truth of the situation. I hope this video helped. I hope someone out there, if you're struggling with this, that it helps you get over it. And, you know, look, I don't know you, but I bet you're a lot better than you think you are. So, if you liked it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.